Japan loves to brag that it invented inbound tourism in 2013, when Shinzo Abe waved around Abenomics like a magic wand and begged foreigners to save the collapsing economy. Cute, really cute. The truth? Mexico was already a century ahead, running circles around Japan before Japan even knew what the word inbound meant. While Japan was still busy convincing tourists to overpay for sushi and snap pictures of temples, Mexico had already built the ultimate cross-border playground. Zona Norte in Tijuana turned into America's backyard escape as early as the 1900s. No glossy government brochure, no anime mascots, no overpriced matcha lattes. Just tequila, tacos, and pleasures that didn't require a JR rail pass or a lecture about cool Japan. And that's where this story gets delicious. Japan packages its tourism in layers of kawaii cuteness and sterilized fantasy, but Mexico? Mexico embraces reality. Raw, unapologetic, sometimes messy, but undeniably human. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly why Mexico beat Japan at the game of inbound tourism by a full century, and why Japan's self-congratulation looks more like cosplay than innovation. When you hear the words inbound tourism, what do you imagine? If you're a polite Japanese bureaucrat in a stiff suit, you picture temples, sushi platters, and maybe a geisha fanning herself under a cherry blossom tree. The Ministry of Cool Japan will tell you it's all about sacred shrines, heritage sites, and Wagyu beef served with a 3-hour bow. But let's cut the crap. Inbound tourism is not about brochures or brochures stacked on top of other brochures. At its core, it's about yes, I said it, the messy, sweaty, biological reality that no government PowerPoint presentation ever wants to put on slide 1. Mexico understood this over 100 years ago. Zona Norte didn't wait for a 5-year policy plan. It didn't need glossy mascots in sailor suits or anime campaigns begging foreigners to visit Japan. No, Mexico simply opened its doors and said, come for tequila, tacos, and, let's be honest, release. Americans came in droves, not because they wanted to admire colonial architecture, but because they wanted what their Puritan hometowns denied them: vice, intimacy, freedom, and yes, come. Now here's the punchline. Japan pretends it's above all that. Japan wants to look like the sophisticated host of UNESCO-approved tea ceremonies. But walk down Shinjuku's Kabukichō, or peek inside a Sapporo soapland, and you'll see the same damn thing. Inbound tourism in Japan is also sex tourism, just rebranded with neon lights and the politeness of a bow. So let's not kid ourselves. Mexico and Japan are identical twins in this business, except Mexico admitted it first and never blushed about it. Japan hides behind sushi and kimonos, but underneath, it's all the same transaction. Inbound tourism is not about shrines or sightseeing. It's about satisfaction, biology, and the universal truth that what tourists really cross borders for is not temples, but release. Long before Japan's Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism got its shiny PowerPoint slides ready in 2013, Mexico was already running a masterclass in inbound tourism, and the classroom, a little border town called Tijuana. The subject, Pleasure 101. The tuition fee, cash only. Zona Norte didn't emerge out of some sterile government brainstorming session about GDP growth. No, it was born out of good old-fashioned human desire, and a uniquely American contradiction. Picture it, the 1920s. Prohibition slams the door shut in the US, and suddenly, a thirsty, repressed, church-going America is desperate for booze, women, and freedom. And where did they run? South, across the border into Mexico's wide-open arms. No visa applications, no JR passes, no tourist information centers handing out cartoon maps. Just one promise: no judgment, just pleasure. Zona Norte quickly became what Japan still dreams of creating: a repeat tourism economy. Men came, men spent, men returned again and again. You didn't need kawaii mascots or Visit Mexico 2025 hashtags. The product sold itself: tequila, tacos, and the kind of human connection you can't package into a pamphlet. And here's where the mockery writes itself. Japan pretends that tourists are dying to see yet another temple, or to sip overpriced matcha while taking selfies in kimonos rented for 10,000 yen a day. But let's be honest, Zona Norte proved that the real driver of inbound tourism isn't culture, it's vice. Mexico didn't need to sanitize it, infantilize it, or turn it into Hello Kitty with a kimono. It just said, here's what you want. Take it. Meanwhile, Japan, 100 years late, still hides behind its obsession with order and respectability. But Kabukichō in Tokyo, same thing. Yoshiwara in Asakusa, same thing. Japan can call it cool Japan all it wants, but in the end, Zona Norte was the blueprint. And Japan is just the shy copycat, pretending it's about cherry blossoms while handing you the same transaction behind closed doors. Japan has a unique gift. It can take the most adult concept imaginable and turn it into something that looks like a kindergarten field trip. Want to sell alcohol? Put a smiling mascot on the bottle. Want to run a gambling empire? Call it pachinko and make the machines look like a rainbow vomited on them. Even when the subject is sex, Japan can't resist dressing it up like a Hello Kitty lunchbox. Soaplands, hostess bars, even AV films, they all get wrapped in layers of kawaii, politeness, and shh, don't tell grandma. It's like Disneyland, but for men who never learned how to grow up. Mexico, on the other hand, doesn't bother with cosplay. Zona Norte doesn't need anime eyes or pastel bows to lure tourists. It says what it is. It shows what it offers. And if you're not into it, fine. There's always tacos and tequila waiting for you on the next street. Mexico doesn't infantilize its vices. It embraces them. Dentistry, strip clubs, tequila tours, cartel souvenirs, whatever the reality is, it's right there on display. No one's trying to rebrand it as a cool Mexico initiative. Meanwhile, Japan is still pretending. Tourists are told, come see our temples, our polite culture, our 1,000-year history. But walk 2 blocks off the main drag in Shinjuku, and suddenly the fantasy collapses. Neon brothels, Yoshiwara throwbacks in Asakusa, love hotels with themed rooms that make Vegas look subtle. Japan desperately wants you to believe it's selling tradition, when in reality it's selling the exact same thing Mexico does, just with more rules, more shame, and triple the price tag. Here's the irony. Mexico's realism is actually more honest, more adult. Japan infantilizes everything to keep its citizens trapped in an eternal playground. Mexico says, you're grown, you know what you want, pay up. And maybe that's why Mexico mastered inbound tourism a century earlier. It never confused pleasure with purity. People love to say San Diego is prosperous because of its beaches, sunshine, and quality of life. Sure, the weather is nice, the fish tacos are tasty, and the Navy docks look impressive. But let's be honest, what really made San Diego so comfortable for American men was the fact that just across the border sat Tijuana. And inside Tijuana, the beating heart of freedom, Zona Norte. Think about it. Without Zona Norte, San Diego would have been just another overpriced Californian beach town, suffocated by Protestant morality and HOA meetings about lawn care. But thanks to the existence of an anything-goes playground 20 minutes south, American men could park their families in clean suburban cul-de-sacs north of the border, while sneaking down to Tijuana whenever business trips or Friday nights with the boys demanded a little extracurricular activity. Zona Norte acted as San Diego's pressure valve. Men didn't need to wreck their marriages in San Diego because Tijuana offered them an escape hatch, and the money flowed both ways. Dollars poured south into Mexico, and prosperity poured back north in the form of calmer, more stable households in San Diego. Behind every shiny suburban home in La Jolla, every well-funded school in Del Mar, you could probably find at least a few paychecks that had been discreetly spent across the border. So when people say San Diego is one of America's most prosperous cities, don't just thank the biotech firms or the Navy. Thank Zona Norte. It kept generations of American men content, compliant, and conveniently invested in San Diego real estate. Japan, by contrast, still hasn't figured this out. Tokyo tries to hide Kabukichō like a family secret, as if its nightlife doesn't exist. Mexico flaunted Zona Norte, and San Diego reaped the rewards. That's the difference between denial and prosperity. Zona Norte is more than just neon lights and tequila shots. It's an economic ecosystem, a living model of how tourism thrives when you stop pretending people travel just to take pictures of sunsets. Mexico understood early that inbound tourism is not about temples or teacups. It's about access. Access to intimacy, to nightlife, to human connection. You give people what they can't get at home, and they'll keep coming back. Simple. What makes Zona Norte effective is its brutal honesty. Bar girls, dancers, street hustlers. They all run on a tip-based economy. No hourly wage slavery, no fake politeness rehearsed in corporate seminars. If you give good service, you get tipped. If you don't, you starve. Harsh? Maybe. But it creates an incentive structure Japan has never dared to touch. In Tokyo, you'll still meet a hostess who performs robotic bows like she's auditioning for an etiquette textbook, while the actual transaction is buried under a mounting of shame. And let's not forget the brutal truth about demographics. In Mexico, in the Philippines, even in Thailand, women over 40 are still part of the tourism economy. They run bars, work as managers, become digital cam stars, or reinvent themselves online. In Japan, the moment a woman passes 35, she vanishes from every tourism poster, nightlife strip, and marketing campaign. It's as if Japanese inbound tourism requires the mass erasure of middle-aged women. Zona Norte never made that mistake. It embraced all players because the market rewards variety, not denial. That's the lesson Japan refuses to learn. You can't build sustainable inbound tourism by pretending visitors want another overpriced tea ceremony or Hello Kitty-themed shopping bag. You build it by acknowledging human desire and monetizing it without shame. Mexico understood this a century ago. Japan is still stuck in cosplay, hiding the truth behind paper doors. So what have we learned here? Japan likes to think it invented inbound tourism in 2013 with a press conference, a logo, and some painfully awkward commercials about sushi and samurai. But Mexico laughs from across the Pacific because it had already perfected the model a century earlier, with Zona Norte as Exhibit A. Japan built its inbound tourism strategy on cosplay. Dress up culture like it's a doll, sanitize everything, put a kawaii mascot on it, and hope foreigners line up for the show. Temples, overpriced matcha, kimono rentals at 10,000 yen a day. The whole experience feels like Disneyland with stricter rules and fewer smiles. And when it comes to nightlife, Japan pretends it doesn't exist. Kabukichō, just entertainment. Yoshiwara in Asakusa, oh, that's historical culture. Right. Because nothing screams Edo period heritage like a neon-lit soapland. Mexico, on the other hand, didn't waste time pretending. Zona Norte told the truth. Tourists want pleasure, connection, indulgence, and a little chaos. And guess what? That honesty made San Diego rich, Tijuana famous, and Mexico's inbound tourism resilient for over 100 years. No mascots required. The irony is brutal. Japan markets itself as the land of purity, but hides one of the largest adult industries in the world. Mexico markets itself as the land of tacos and tequila, and yet everyone knows what's waiting after midnight. Japan hides, Mexico flaunts. Japan blushes, Mexico smiles. And history shows which model actually worked. So next time you hear a Japanese minister bragging about inbound tourism numbers, just remember, they're late to a party that Mexico threw a century ago, and everyone else has already been drunk, fed, and satisfied long before Japan even sent out the invitation. Inbound tourism isn't temples, it isn't teacups, it isn't kimonos, it's flesh, fun, and freedom. And on that score, Mexico beat Japan by 100 years.